Hello, welcome to Nell at Night. So the last few weeks have been, every time I open up these videos, I talk about the weather. I mentioned it last week, I think, and then a couple of weeks ago, talking about spring and getting our bodies ready and taking care of our bodies. And it's funny that as I'm seeing these flowers blooming, and it's really, I feel like an exciting time of year, but also there's a lot of work to be done. Even in, you think of spring cleaning and all this like movement that's happening. And it makes me think about how part of our process in development is I always look to nature when I think about our evolution. And so this part of the process of nature, this season, this springtime, what is that about? What does spring represent? For me, it represents a lot of possibility and potential, because there's this like belief like, oh, things are beginning to take shape and yet not fully formed. So we're not exactly sure what's going to happen, right? And the other thing that also comes to mind for me is that, and something that I've been talking about a lot with the people around me is, clients and people that are in my life, is how struggle is such an important part of our process for growth, right? And what's interesting is that spring represents to me that struggle. An example that I use a lot is how trees don't have the strength that they need unless they really dig down and put their roots into the ground. And how do they do that? How does a tree get really strong roots? Well, the tree gets really strong roots through struggle, through wind, and through environmental rain and storms and all of that. So if the tree survives through this struggle, the roots get deeper. And wisdom too, and age, yet really it's more about the elemental forces that push the tree to really strengthen itself. So what does that mean in our lives? What does that say for us? Well, what it tells me is that even when things feel hard and like we don't like where we are because it's really uncomfortable and difficult for us, well, that's where we really grow the most. And thinking back to spring and how right now we're beginning to see these little buds blossom, and the beginning of the season, those buds, those blossoms, they have to work really hard to get up through the ground, shoot through, the cold, hard ground. The ground is still not, really warm and plentiful, and it's kind of still a little yucky. So this is the time of year that we really struggle. And what are we struggling for? We're struggling for potential. We're struggling for the blossom. So in case your life is taking you to a time that's really hard and maybe difficult, maybe this little piece of understanding nature and how it's so important for nature to have the struggle in order for it to be symbiotic and work. And maybe you can see how this particular time that you're in, or maybe a past time, is and can be really helpful to the growth and the strength that you have in you, because we all have an inner strength and ability to overcome whatever's happening. And how do I know this? Well, I've seen it. I've seen it in people that you'd be amazed at the strength that they have to go through things. And I've seen it in myself. And so with that little note for spring and hopefully the enjoyment of what's coming right now with lovely weather and beautiful blossoms out there, I hope that you have a great night. Thank you for watching. Good night.